Namaste and welcome to the next episode of Warrior to Warrior, the Gita for Beginners. Today we're going to talk about chapter 2 of the Gita, which is arguably one of the most interesting chapters because it touches upon themes that are the very essence of the Gita. In this chapter, Lord Krishna imparts 3 very important, life-changing lessons to Arjun. In order to do justice to each of these lessons, I'm going to explore them individually in separate episodes. And today we will focus on the first lesson of this chapter. But before we dive in, let's do a quick recap. In the previous episode, we talked about how the stage was set for the great Kurukshetra war between the 2 sets of cousins, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Just before the war begins, Arjun tells Krishna, his friend and charioteer, to take the chariot to the center of the battlefield so that he can get a clearer idea of who the enemy is. Now, even though Arjun always knew who he was up against, actually seeing his family members, his teachers, his friends in the battlefield, where just in a few short hours they might all be killed either by Arjun himself or his own army, is too much for Arjun to bear. And he puts down his bow and arrows and he tells Krishna that he will not fight in the war. And that's where we stopped last time. So now let's find out what happens in chapter 2. Seeing Arjun's despair, his emotional anguish, his complete reluctance to participate in the war, Krishna begins speaking. He imparts his first lesson, which is the eternal nature of the soul. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Since Arjun is heartbroken at the thought of causing the death of his loved ones, Krishna tries to reassure him by telling him that there is no such thing as birth or death. We've been around long before our so-called birthday, and we'll continue to be around long after we've drawn our last breath. And that's because our soul, our inner core, that spiritual, intangible part of us, is eternal. It's something that cannot be destroyed. When we die, we simply take on a new outer casing, a new body. Imagine a favorite outfit of yours that you've been wearing for a long, long time. Now, you've worn it so often that it's got a little worn out, a little frayed, and it's time to replace it with a new outfit. Death is nothing but shedding an old outfit. Birth is nothing but getting dressed in a new outfit. And by that token, the very moment we die, that's also the moment we are born, just in a new disguise, in a new body. The outer casing, the outfit gets worn out and then replaced. But the soul is eternal. It lives on. And so Krishna urges Arjun to focus on doing his duty as a warrior, to focus on doing what is right. Instead of thinking about all this death and destruction, Arjun should fight the war because it's impossible for him to destroy the souls of his loved ones. And that's how Krishna imparts the first lesson of the chapter, which is to recognize the true nature of the self. I'd now like to take a few moments to talk about what I have personally learned from this chapter. I have often met people who always put themselves last, who keep giving, keep sacrificing, endlessly doing stuff for others, even at the cost of their own physical and mental health. They think it's selfish to look after themselves and that their main duty is to nurture the people they love. Now, of course, it's important to nurture people we love, but it's also important to remember that we're not just the guardians of our children, we're also the guardians of the souls that have been entrusted to us in this birth. In this lifetime, we have been given the responsibility of protecting, nurturing, safeguarding the soul within us. Now, that soul has existed before, just in a different body. In this birth, that soul is within us. And when we neglect our health, when we abuse our body, when we put ourselves last, we are doing a grave injustice to this soul. The moment we create this shift in our mindset, when we start looking at ourselves not as this physical body, but rather as guardian of the soul, that's when we start recognizing our true duty, which is, of course, to look after the people we love, but also to look after ourselves. So how does one go about nurturing one's soul? It is by paying attention to what is known as our volitional actions. These are the deliberate choices we make every single day. These are the simple everyday decisions where we have the power to choose between what is right and what is convenient, between what is right and what is easy, between what is right and what is fun. Each time we choose to do what is right instead of the alternative, we are nurturing our soul. For example, the next time you feel tempted to skip your morning walk because you're feeling lazy and instead you just choose to surf through social media, remind yourself that you're choosing what is convenient instead of what is right. The next time you procrastinate on signing up for that online course, which you know is going to boost your career, and instead you spend time with your friends or you watch a movie, remind yourself that you're doing what is fun instead of what is right. Now, in life, there is a place and a time to do what is easy, fun, and convenient. It's not always possible for us to do what is right in every single scenario. It's just not humanly possible. But if we make a conscious effort to make wiser choices as often as possible, then our lives in the end will be lives well lived. So friends, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon in the next video.